Welcome back to the Sports Ranter. I want to say thank you to the millions of sports ranters around the world. The reason why we're here is because if it hurts your lineup or it hurts your pride, we're going to discuss it here for you every week, okay? I want to say hello to our host. We're down one cosmonaut, Andrew, but we have Jacob, we have Nick, and myself. I act as a lead host. I'm kind of like the edge. Nick is the logic, and Jake is the chaos. Okay, and so we're gonna continue to balance each other out as we go forward here, you guys. But once again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you to our million viewers. Our number one rule here is to have fun. If we're not having fun, we shut it down, and that's it. Okay, you guys. And so, anyways, with that said, moving forward, it's been a crazy week. Playoff football. Black Monday continues on, now with Sean McDermott. Okay, Jake, let's go ahead and start and roll with that. I don't want to start rambling. Let's get this show going. Sean McDermott gets fired. How do you feel about that, my friend?
My mom called me the chaos. I haven't heard that since. I personally, I'm kind of neutral on it. I think that using him as a scapegoat is not going to fix anything that's wrong with this franchise. I think Brandon Beane has not done anything since Brandon Beane's time as the GM. Out of all his draft picks, I think they've had 54 draft picks. They've had 2 Pro Bowlers. He has not been a good GM. He's not done what it takes to get the pieces around this team. It's like, yeah, you can fire McDermott or whatever, but unless you get somebody, the players loved Sean McDermott. Like he was a guy that they believed in. He was a guy that every year was in the playoffs. Now, yes, eventually you get to a point where we're not advancing past this point in the playoffs. So we got to get over the hump. If people want to blame McDermott or whatever, so be it. You guys know my stance. I don't think they've done enough at all to put pieces around to get over that hump. But it's like, I think they're going to probably go with the safe pick with Daboll, Brian Daboll. He was there before. He worked with Josh Allen early on as the OC. But promoting Brandon Beane, when he should have been fired, they're promoting him and then using Sean McDermott as a scapegoat. I'm not happy about that. I think that it was probably time to get a new philosophy in there. But McDermott's a defensive-minded coach. Their defense, overall, I looked at since 2020, has been top 10 numerous times and pretty much in the top third almost every year. So, he's being used as a scapegoat. He's going to be very coveted somewhere else. We'll see what happens. We'll see who they bring in.
What do you think it is? Because I don't know. I see the Bills as one of I know it hasn't been perfect, but they've been one of the better teams in the league as of late. So exactly.
Well, I said, kind of what I touched on yesterday. It's like it's just a different team in the playoffs. It seems like speaking not even the offense for a minute, but their defense, and their losses is averaging, giving up 33 points a game. For all their playoff games, wins and losses, it's still like 28 points a game that they're giving up. That's not what you kind of expect from a guy, a defensive coach. I'm not sure exactly in that time frame what the Chiefs defense, was giving up, but it wasn't that high. So it's like, and then you have 2 receivers in that 5-year stretch between 2020 and 2025 that go over 100 yards, and each one did it twice, and one guy did it in the same season, one guy was 2 separate seasons. That's just not good. And then they talk about how they're going to be using their tight end. They spend this big draft pick on Kincaid. It's like, where are these guys? And how is Josh Allen still throwing for 300 yards every game? I don't get it. But if I heard Cam Newton this morning talking about the Texans, talking about C.J. Stroud and saying that they just didn't put enough, or he just didn't have enough around him after Nico was hurt and all that stuff. but then it's like you got, 50-year-old Brandon Cooks, you got Gabe Davis, who's been the journeyman of the league, and then you got Khalil Shakir, who was, I think, a 7th-round pick or whatever. It's like they had 3 receivers on the starting roster this Sunday. They haven't done enough, and that's where Brandon Beane, is at fault. You got to go out. This team has been in this prime and for a few years now. Go out and get some pieces.
Nick,
they were close to acquiring Waddle at the trade deadline, and then it didn't happen because they didn't want to give up a 2026 first rounder. Miami wanted a 26. They want to give a 27. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Nick, Waddle would have made a huge difference. But
Nick, we've been on the Josh Allen train for a long time now, right? And watching
Nick,
that.
Did you hear my thing yesterday?
Yes, of course.
I did not listen to all of it, but I listened to part of it, and yeah, I mean, I tend to disagree. But as far as McDermott, I mean, I think it was time. You have Josh for 8 seasons. You're 8-8 in the playoffs. He's a hell of a coach. If the Raiders turned around and hired him, I wouldn't be mad. He's a good coach, but sometimes, you underachieve, and there's just little things. So early on, I mean, there's a lot of little things. McDermott always got dinged for some decisions he's made in the playoffs. Time management, stuff like that early on, and it was on display again. The fact that you even run a play with 16 seconds left on your own 24 or whatever it was with no timeouts, you have that's what Bill Belichick did. That's what these great coaches, you have to protect your players, right? You have to know your player. If you call play for Josh Allen, right? Now, I blame Josh Allen too, but let me backtrack it. If you call play for Josh Allen, you have to know he's going to go for it, right? He's going to do everything. He's going to try to be Superman, like Jake was saying. And that's where you need to know as a coach, hey, we don't need Superman right now. Take a knee. Let's go into the half. Let's regroup, right? They had literally zero. I bet they had probably 0.1%.
You're talking about halftime, right?
Right before halftime.
Okay. Got it.
You cannot, dude. Those 3 points are huge. Every little play in the playoffs is magnetized, and that's why in the playoffs your head coach has to be on top of it. Yes, we're going to talk about Josh Allen and all that, but that's why I think there's just a little things why McDermott has to be the scapegoat. Now, I agree with you. Brandon Beane getting promoted and all that, that's a whole different issue. That doesn't make any sense. Uh-oh. But as far as just the locker room and just, you can't keep failing with Josh Allen. We talked about it. This was his year. And here's the thing. This is the game where Josh Allen didn't need to be a superhero. He had James Cook was running the ball great. They had over 100 and almost 200 yards rushing. I think just don't turn the ball over. This was a game where he didn't need to be Superman. Just don't turn the ball over. That's it. And yeah, you're saying the defense gave up 30 points. Yeah, the defense gave up 30 points on 4 turnovers from your offense. What if you don't turn the ball over? The Broncos score what? 14? It's just, and those little things that before halftime, just, I don't know, that just was atrocious. I don't even know how to explain it. That was atrocious. Atrocious by even running the play. I was shocked they were even running the play. I was watching my brothers. I'm like, what are they doing? And then Josh is running with the ball like a loaf of bread, holding it like a loaf of bread. I'm like, what's going on? You give them a free 3 points, give them the momentum. Yes, I know they came back. They took the lead off. But again, we all talked about game of inches. You give them those 3 points. Well, guess what? Those 3 points came back to hunt them because you go to overtime. Guess what? You don't go in overtime if you don't give up 3 points, So,
right. No, I don't know. My point got across. He was like, yeah, this game is totally on Josh Allen. Absolutely. I have no problem with that. He had the worst game I think I've ever seen him play.
In the playoffs, for sure.
Yeah. My whole thing was, it's and I don't know. We've talked about it so much. It's like beating a dead horse, but the game a few years ago with the Chiefs, he was literally, by statistic standards, in what he did was perfect. He was perfect. And they lose in the same fashion that they did this weekend when he had the absolute worst game ever. So, it's I have a hard time sometimes when everyone wants to hang it on him. Although I understand where he's at, but it's like, does nobody? Stephen A. Smith brought it up, but it's like, Nick? What do you think? Like, the receiving core around him, like, what is any quarterback supposed to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do?
But you can't have everything, Jake, though. You can't have everything.
But they have
a great O-line. They have the number 1 rushing team in the league. I'm just saying, give Tom Brady the number 1 rushing team in the league and give him who's who at receiver, and he's probably going to go win one, right? Like,
no. They were the number 1 rushing team because of Josh Allen's yards, though.
No. James Cook led the league in rushing.
Tom Brady always had an elite receiver. Always.
No, he didn't. He made him, first of all. Julian Edelman was not elite, first of all.
But Julian Edelman was a backup for 3 years before he was deemed a starter because Tom Brady didn't let him on the field.
We drafted him in fantasy
Moss.
like he was.
He had Tony Brown. He had Tom Brady.
He
always had a receiver.
He didn't win with Randy Moss, first of all. He ended up getting Gronk. I get that. 1 tight end. But, like, what I'm saying is Patrick Mahomes hasn't had receivers either. Like,
yes, he has.
Here's my thing. And I get we want to blame it. The only reason why I don't feel bad for John, I feel bad because he's losing. I don't feel bad that he's getting the blame because the minute he wins, he's going to get all the credit.
Right.
We're not going to talk about his defense. We're not going to talk about the run game. We're not going to talk about the coach.
Right.
We're going to give, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame because of that. Like,
and I have been somebody that has done that probably too much. Where it's like when he wins, it's like, oh my God, Josh Allen pulled it all off. And then when they lose, the first thing I want to do is go to that. I'm more or less now. I'm just frustrated with the Bills' lack of success. Like if AJ Brown was on that field, like how big do you think that is? Or go get like a Justin Jefferson.
He had Stephon Diggs, and I know it's part of the 13-second game, which is why another, I think, missed coaching opportunity there. They should have, in my mind, squib kicked and stuff and took more time off the clock, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But that's the only game where I feel Josh played perfect and should have won. Like, you take the lead with 13 seconds. What are you supposed to do? All the other games, a play here, a play there. He's come up short.
But can I ask you this then? Do you feel like that's the only game where he really played? He can't take the blame. But look at all the quarterbacks that have won the last few weeks. Their games have by no means been perfect. There's been interceptions. There's been balls that have been fumbled. Look at Drake May. Like, it matters what else is around you sometimes, because if there's nothing around you, then yes, you make one mistake and that's it.
He made multiple mistakes.
I know, Nick. I'm talking like big picture. I'm talking big picture. You're right.
Well, look. I'll tell you what's right. Who's gonna win it is probably the Seahawks win it all. And what is Darnold doing? I'm just gonna control the game. I'm gonna do my part. I'm not gonna try to do too much.
I'm looking up his stats right now.
When Darnold has been garbage. But because he hasn't needed to be great, right?
Nick, right, because he has a team around him.
No, but he's mistake free though. Dude. Even Drake May against Houston. Drake May, he should have seen, and I'm knocking May. He should have seen Houston could not move the ball. Where like if everybody watching that game, Drake May should have noticed, hey, all I have to do is not give the ball away.
You want to know?
Tried to give him Houston the game. Luckily, they fell on 2 of his fumbles. But all you had to do. So that's all I'm saying. Sometimes in the game, just don't. I mean, has Darnold had pass attempts? He has, right? Has he thrown a pick?
Darnold. 14 interceptions. That's 34th in the league. Total quarterback rating for the year 56. That's 19th in the league. Only 25 touchdowns.
The playoff games.
Twice, tied for ninth. He hasn't been perfect. He has a team around him.
No, I said of the 4 quarterbacks left, he's played the cleanest game. That's what
through the playoffs?
In the playoffs. I said when we're talking playoff time, you have to play clean. You have to just do like against the Rams. My point is, he might have to throw 4 touchdowns, and if he doesn't, then they might lose, right? Like, he's gonna need to, like, that's where. And I'm not saying he's gonna do it. I'm just saying, as of right now, if you're an elite quarterback, again, we've seen it with the league guys, even Matthew Stafford. Even sometimes you throw for $120, just don't throw a pick.
Look,
other times you need to throw for 450 and 4 touchdowns. You need to manage the game, and that's all.
Look,
I think
I know where Jake is coming from as far as you got to have something there to help you, because if I'm a fan, I love Josh Allen, right? Like I absolutely want him as my quarterback, but at the same time, my ultimate formula for my Super Bowl team is a good defense, a good run game, a bunch of other players, and an adequate quarterback, right? Like Sam Darnold, right? And so I'm just, as much as I love Josh Allen, I don't want him on my team, because that means it's just it's hard to say. It's just hard to say.
I'm just saying. This week, if you take all the quarterbacks in all the games, Caleb Williams throws an interception, Matt Stafford throws an interception, Drake May throws an interception, and Josh Allen throws an interception. Because of what is structured around them, the interception that is going to hurt that team the most is Josh Allen's, because the other quarterbacks, they have defenses. They have solid defenses. They have receivers that are going to go out and make plays the next time around. There's other factors that go into success.
Yeah.
And and yes, Josh Allen is in a thing where it's like everybody praises him when they win, and then it's like it's so easy to make mistakes when he loses. And I'm okay with him taking the blood. That's why I'm happy. I'm not happy. I'm bummed they kept Brandon Beane, because he hasn't done enough to fix that, in my opinion, the last few years.
For sure. He needs another weapon. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse. Like, when you watched that game, did you not think the Bills were the better team?
It was really hard. It was really hard, as much as they were turning it over.
Well, no,
right,
that's
no
that's
turnovers.
my point.
No turnovers.
Well, 4 turnovers, and Broncos only had 1.
Yeah.
It's tied, and you're going into overtime, and you had a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, Broncos deserve to be there, and it sucks that
to me, that's the better team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And why are they better? It's because of Josh, right? And so, unfortunately, and like I said, he missed Kincaid. He missed the out route. There's throws where we just see clutch quarterbacks make, and you're not in that position. You don't fumble right before half on a stupid play. You don't, like, those are the little things. Again, call it curse, call it like, I love Josh Allen, by the way. I was rooting for him. I picked him. I told you guys.
I know you do. I know.
Guys, so a little quick reset, guys. We are the Sports Ranter. If you are watching, please like the stream, hop in the chat, and don't forget to talk a little trash if you want to, get the juices rolling here. But we are here weekly, every Tuesday, live 6 p.m. We're gonna fix that, but that's the basis of our show, live. Okay, guys. But Nick, what are the rumors? Tell our viewers around the world what the rumors are about where certain coaches are going. We've heard certain suspects. We've heard McDaniels now to the Chargers as an offensive coordinator. I mean, I know the league wants parity, and I know that shows up in the playoff games. We're going to get a chance to talk about the playoff games too, right? Denver versus Patriots and Rams versus Seahawks. We're going to end the show with that. But, Nick, what's your scoop on the coaches in the league? Other coaches.
I mean, I think so far, I think they've all been actually pretty good hires. John Harbaugh, the Giants, I think that's a no-brainer for them. I think that's going to be great for the Giants.
Wow.
Just breaking news, Mike McDaniel's the OC for, the Chargers. All these coaches that got fired, other than, I say, the Raiders coach, Pete Carroll, and maybe Raheem Morris, like, dude, this is a group of good coaches who got fired. It's just unfortunate circumstances, or hey, they just didn't cut it as a head coach. But they are amazing coordinators. Like Mike McDaniel's, we all know can run an offense. Like that's no surprise. I think that's a great hire for the Chargers. Bad news for the Raiders. But yeah, as far as the rest, like I don't know who wants to go to Cleveland. That is a mess. We'll see. Like I think it's gonna have to be some young new coach. The front runner for and I think the big name is Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. Like he's the young OC that maybe not as established as Ben Johnson, but like the Ben Johnson of this offseason, I would say. So I think that's who the Raiders want, is from what I'm seeing for the Raiders. But also some other, LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, I think.
Matt LaFleur.
No, Mike, his brother.
Oh, okay.
Matt LaFleur is that. So his brother's off the OC for the Rams. I forget. He's the OC somewhere too. So he's part of a LaFleur family. And so like he's kind of young too. So, but he's getting some shine too. But yeah, I think, Stefanski to the Falcons is great. I think Stefanski's a good coach, 2-time coach of the year. Yeah. Some people are like, he didn't do nothing with the Browns. Like, I don't know. I don't want to judge anybody off the Browns. They're a mess, so, with the weapons over there, we'll see what he's able to do. But I mean, we don't know where Tennessee's doing. Obviously, I already talked about the Raiders, Browns. I mean, Miami still needs, Miami hired their coach already, yeah. So we don't really know him. I don't know him that much.
Green Bay's OC, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Green Bay's OC. So those are always weird because we know Matt LaFleur runs that offense. So how much does he influence? We don't know. Bieniemy looks like he's going back to the Chiefs. That's kind of interesting too. Like, wow. Oh, hey, we sucked when you were gone. Can you come back even though it's Andrew Reid's offense, right?
Yeah, so that's when the offense kind of started tanking, dude. Like, yeah, smart move, bring him back.
At the end of the day, like I think Jake said in our text message, like it's so hard to know. Like nobody knew Sean McVay was going to work. Nobody knew Matt LaFleur was going to work. Nobody knew. Like they were all young, good guys, but nobody knows. Like, dude, McDaniel McDonald, is it McDonald with the Seahawks? Like, Mike, like. Yeah. Okay, you hire the DC for the Ravens. Like, you don't know he's gonna be. Obviously, it looks like he's fantastic. Like, you just don't know. You got to hire these coordinators, and you just hope you got the right guy. And then we've seen a lot of them flame out, like no good. So, it's all, we don't know how someone is gonna manage a team from a coordinator. But if you hit and then you got a young coordinator, we've seen it. You get the flourish. So, like for the Raiders, like I want to go after Clint Kubiak. I think he's done amazing with that Seattle offense, and what he's done with Sam Darnold. I think that's just a testament to Sam Darnold and what he's able to do there. So, we're obviously going to probably draft Mendoza. So I want a young offensive-minded coach who's going to groom Mendoza, and so we can be good for the next, 10 years. So.
Ooh, excellent. Well, the coach carousal will continue around the league, right? We're still going to. It's still not over. There's still opportunities of teams. I think there's teams that were in the playoffs, right? They can't interview until the playoffs are over, right? I don't know how that works, but still, there's a whole lot of things going on still.
They just have to ask permission.
For instance, Carolina, okay? Dave Canales has already announced that he's going to keep E.J. Evero as a defensive coordinator. But he's been now invited to 3 organizations to be in as a head coach. And so even though right now we're building as him as our D coordinator, he might be gone here in the next few months. So you have to be prepared for anything that happens, I guess, right now during this time. Jacob, let's move forward to playoff football. We have 4 teams left, 2 out of the AFC, 2 out of the NFC. Let's focus on the NFC right now. Okay, switch gears a little bit. The Rams, right, versus the Seahawks. Okay, I think my favorite game, the only game to watch now that freaking Bo Nix has a breaking ankle. Okay, so I don't know how the NFL is going to work with this one. This is going to be tricky. I guarantee you something stupid's going to happen in the AFC Championship game to make it exciting. Rams and Seahawks, Jake. Who do you have?
I'm probably going to. Who did the Seahawks play in their first game last week? They had the bye last week, correct?
They whooped the Niners' ass.
Yeah, they just whooped the Niners.
Yeah, this week did, and then before that had the bye.
That's it.
So Seahawks having to go out after having a few weeks of not play. I mean, not playing an offense like the Rams. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a slugfest. Charbonnet out with an ACL tear. I think that's going to be a big factor in this stuff. We're going to see if Kenneth Walker can carry the entire the running, the workload in the backfield, and he has not been able to do that before. That's why they drafted Charbonnet, and everyone was all excited in the fantasy world about Charbonnet coming out of college because he was a great pass catcher, he's a great running back, and then he went to the one place where they already had a bona fide other stud that they just drafted. So, but they used him because Kenneth Walker couldn't get it done. So I'm gonna if I'm gonna put my my $2 down, it's gonna be on the Rams. I think the Rams have had some tough games, with some tough defenses. So I don't think the Seattle defense is gonna go and necessarily scare them. Obviously, it's gonna be the toughest test, but they've been playing tough defenses. They've been finding ways to score. As long as Puka and Devontae are healthy, I think the Rams. As far as the AFC goes, all I'll say is this: how crazy would it be if the Broncos can somehow squeak by?
I mean, it's not crazy.
Hey, Philip, you just got in shape. We got 2 weeks till the Super Bowl. Are you going to go against?
What?
Are you going to go against the Rams or the Seattle Seahawks with Jared
Philip Rivers?
I'm just saying. It wasn't as bad as people thought with the Colts. And he's in shape now. He has 2 weeks to learn the playbook.
What's the rules behind that?
They'd have to trade him or something, right? Like he's signed with the Colts.
Yeah, I think they would. But if you're going to the Super Bowl, man, like.
But if it's not Philip Rivers, can they do something? Like, are the Broncos is it not cut off?
You could sign a free agent. You
can sign a free agent.
Tom Brady's not available because he's involved with the Raiders, but I don't know who's out there. And
Cam Newton.
Just for a side note for the sports world that keeps having to hear this idiot talk about how racist everybody is because he's not getting a shot. Look at the guy on TV. The guy doesn't look like he's gotten off his couch. Why they keep bringing up his name like he is a viable option?
Because Bo Nix has a broken ankle, Jake. That's why.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll take you or Nick out there at quarterback over Cam Newton. No, but I would take Philip Rivers over Cam Newton. That's all I'm saying. Or Nick Foles. Call Nick Foles.
Big dick.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I always thought whoever came out of the NFC was going to win anyways, unless it was the Bills, because I still don't trust the Patriots.
Patriots.
I know we didn't really talk about it, but dude, I have to mention it.
Okay, come on.
CJ Stroud he's declined. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest drops I've ever seen. I don't think anybody has just come in their rookie year like that. And then, we've seen people struggle after the fact, sophomore slumps and stuff, but he looks like he doesn't know how to play quarterback
The
anymore.
throws that he were missing, he missed. I watched him 3 times miss his tight end out in the flat. He rolled out. There was nobody between him.
The game is too big for him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But anyways, I think the game of the week is obviously, it's been the game of the week. The other 2 games were great games. I know one of them, Darnold threw 4 picks and they were still close. They only lost by 2. And then the other one, they came back and squeaked the win, I think, against the Rams the second. But division rivals, honestly, the 2 best teams in NFC the entire year.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for anything better. I don't know. I mean, it's gonna, it's just gonna be one of those games. Whoever makes a play here, play there. I mean, I would lean Rams. I think they got a little bit more playmakers. Obviously, I trust Matthew Stafford a little bit more. Sean McVay, they've all been there. So, you have to lean Rams, but they also have to go to Seattle. So then I lean Seattle, and it's just, as a fan, you just gotta appreciate it. It's gonna be an amazing game. I hope it is an amazing game. And then in the AFC. I can see the Broncos still winning with Jared Stidham. I could see it now. Am I picking them? No. The Patriots should win that game, and they should be absolutely just disappointed beyond belief if they lose that game.
Though.
You get blessed. I don't know why the Patriots are the luckiest franchise ever.
Yeah, how?
But you get blessed with the AFC Championship of backup quarterback here, but with the way Houston was able to get to Drake May and cause 4 fumbles. Like the Broncos led the league in sacks. So we all know if the Broncos can score a touchdown on defense and keep it close, like Jared Stidham, again, like we just talked about, just go out there and don't turn the ball over and let the game come to you.
You want to know what I hate about Patriot fans? Particularly people like Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck, right? They're going to have a little interview. They're all going to be asked about the backup quarterback for Denver. And they're all going to go, you know, like, so what? Like, I don't care. I'll take it any way I got. You know what I'm saying? That's what I hate about fucking Patriot fans, man.
And what I hate too, I've heard, like, I was like, oh, the Bills would have lost anyways next week. I'm like, shut up.
Oh,
shut up.
I know, right?
Shut up. You guys are annoying. You guys are so annoying.
Well,
the thing is with the Patriots is, like, I guess I'm Josh Allening this again. Even though Drake May had, those how many points did they still put up against the Texans defense? I was surprised by the story.
They didn't put up that much. The Patriots had a pick 6.
I love you, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, what did the game end up being? It was like
17. I think they put up 17.
No, it was in the 20s, 26 or something.
Fucking Jake.
No, but what I'm saying is the story of that game to me was just that the Patriots played the hardest defense they played all year, and if Drake May eliminates a few of those, 1 or 2 of those mistakes, like they ran the ball well, and they're going to get more opportunities. Well, actually, they're not. Stidham and CJ Stroud, I think it's tomato.
Look,
but yeah, I would be surprised if Denver won this thing. I think that defense can hold on for only so long. I don't really know how great Stidham is. I mean, I know he's been in the league like 6 years, but he's only made 3 starts.
I don't mean to cut you off, Jake, but
no, it's all good.
Let's talk about something everyone's forgetting about. Okay, yes, we got the AFC Championship game. We got fucking Drake May, the Patriots. We got, the good defense, Broncos. We got the Rams, who already won before. Everybody seems to forget that one guy used to be a Jet. He used to be running around in this stadium right here, too, trying to win football games. Now that Josh Allen is out, I am on now this Sam Darnold bandwagon. If I have to pick a team to win, I want the Seahawks to win strictly for Sam Darnold.
Nah.
And I want him to go up on that podium and tell the whole world to suck it. Dude, no, I'm serious.
No, it would be astronomical for his career.
Sam Darnold, dude.
No, he's playing for his whole life. This game, because if he blows it with the team that he has now, and then losing last year with Minnesota, because we all know the quarterback, if you don't get it done, regardless of what happens around you, it's on him. But if he goes out and he lays an egg, he throws 4 picks or whatever.
Yeah.
How many millions is that going to cost him in free agency?
Oh, he's
playing for his life,
His one knock is he can't play in the big game. Now, he didn't have to do much last week, and then the one game against the Rams, the other game against 49ers, they won, but it's 13-3, so he's trying to close the door on he can't perform in the big game. He hasn't completely, because even in the big games that the Seahawks were able to win, he didn't particularly play that great. He did enough to win, so give him credit. Of course, quarterback gets credit, but it's not like we're blind. He hasn't completely okay, the big games ain't big enough. This is the biggest game of his life, like Jake said. And if he lays an egg again, then it's just like same old Darnold, same old Darnold.
Yeah, they if I remember, when they beat the Rams the second time in this season, it was when it was like they already lost the game. He threw 4 picks. Sam Darnold, I think that was the right. I could be wrong. Maybe you guys can remember.
No, the first game he threw 4 picks. They only lost by 2 points, but they lost. Second game he didn't.
That's right. They threw 4 picks, but they only lost by 2 points. Yeah, that's right. It was still a close game.
That was the game Devontae Adams was out.
But still, you got to give some respect to that Rams defense. They're going to come after him. That D-line is pretty darn good. That's one of my favorite features of this game. The Seahawks have probably the best D-line in the league, and right behind them is probably the Rams. And so they're going to get after these quarterbacks. It's going to be a classic bout between Stafford and Darnold. But I'm really, Matthew Stafford, good for him, but he's already got one. If we're talking storylines, I really do think that Sam Darnold is going to be the top of this. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, real quick, before we move on, or at some point, we got to talk about the game that got the Rams there. That Bears game with the Rams was absolutely unbelievable. Good. The Bears and Caleb Williams at the end throwing that ball. Like, that was the games that the Rams have been involved, and the Bears after last week with the Green Bay, that was just incredible. I mean, I'm giving it just a shout out to Ben Johnson and the Bears. Like, I think that team's for real, going to be real for a long time.
Yeah.
Just a few mistakes by Caleb Williams in overtime. For the last few games, they've been in overtime, making some dumb passes that have gotten picked off. But my God, dude, that was an incredible game.
I mean, it's probably the best play I've ever seen, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, that's the problem with the Bears. They keep having to rely on these ridiculous throws.
That could have just easily been picked off.
Last
minute, you know what's funny? I saw
this
meme, or I saw this short on. You guys played Madden, right? You guys played Madden.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what it looks like when you accidentally click on the defender. You know how when the ball's in the air and you click on the defender and he stops running? And he stopped. Like, it totally looked like that. Like, he's completely covered, and then like you accidentally click on him, and
that's
he goes
gold,
wide open.
dude.
I was like, that is perfect. That's exactly what happened. That was so perfect.
Yeah. No, but Caleb Williams, I'll tell you, on those drives leading up to that, though, we talk about, just not being big enough for the moment. Caleb Williams, I had my doubts him coming out of USC, as all quarterbacks out of USC do. I thought the guy was kind of a prima donna. That dude is fearless in those moments. It does not matter the throw. It doesn't matter. He's fearless. He's fearless to make the mistakes, but I can't stand it when Allen did this a bunch in the game. Drop back, he's looking, and it's like, okay, like, you got at some point, throw it and at least let the receiver be responsible for the fucking ball. Caleb Williams is the real deal. That dude is super athletic. His arm is awesome. I think he's gonna be the real deal, man. I'm excited to see the Bears the next few years.
It is kind of cool. The league is kind of shaken up. It definitely is parity. Like, we definitely haven't seen these four teams in the playoffs for a while. Obviously, we know it's been the Chiefs, it's been the 49ers, it's been the Eagles, it's been the same four team, whatever. So it is nice and kind of refreshing to see something different in there this year. And so, guys, to end the show, what I want to try to do here at the Sports Ranter is to reflect beyond sports every time we have a show. Obviously, we're talking fantasy football, we're taking NFL hot takes, but we're all continuing to live in this world together. And so, if we could just take a short moment to end the show with just a little bit of humility, and we're all men here in a fast-changing world. And so, not trying to make things serious, just trying to create an open space for other viewers, other men out there that maybe our advice, maybe what we go through can land and can be fruit for somebody who just is standing there listening, And so, a quick question, Nick, that I want to start with is, in a world that's changing and all this chaos, as a man, what do you do to keep the peace? What is it that you have to do to move forward? What is it that centers you in order to get through the chaos?
Well, for me, it's it's God, number one. I think he's the one that centers you, and it's tough to live in this world without some sense of security that way. I'll keep it. I think the reason why it works, is if you don't have hope in life, this world's going to beat you up, and it's going to be tough. That's why there's all this mental illness talk, and all this stuff. And, it's just, I would just encourage people, like, find a purpose to live. Obviously I would say, God is the one that gives you that purpose. But, if that's not your, flavor of Kool-Aid, then, you need to find hope in something, I would say most things are going to disappoint you, but you know what? If you can find something that gives you hope, allows you to wake up every morning and gives you something to you know, look forward to, that's what happens when you get hit hard. You got to get back up. And so if you don't have anything to get back up for, speaking football related, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get hit hard, why do you get back up? You got your teammates, you got your coaches, you got to what you're playing for your brothers out there. You get back up. If you got hit in football and you're like, there's nothing else to play for, you're just gonna lay there on the ground. Like, why get up? We're gonna lose anyways. I don't want to get hit again. So, but because you have something to play for,
Mm-hmm.
is why we get up. So, my everyday life, I play for God. I live for Him, and He's the one that gives me the hope and the joy to just keep on pushing no matter what happens.
Keep on keeping on, Jacob. What keeps you in line, my friend?
God, to be honest, not much. I've been hating life for a while now. I'm definitely going through a time and some some new experiences and all that, some new walking through the fire and all that stuff. But honestly, for me, what's helped, I'll get into more of the spirituality of it, because yes, God is absolutely, but it's more His message, what He says, because even if you don't believe in God, He still, what has helped me is what He taught, and it's love. Try focusing more on just loving the people around you, the people that are there. I've started really taking time to reflect the relationships in my life, and what is adding value, and what is adding peace, and then what is not adding peace, and where we invest our time in that is a really big deal. I think that's why a lot of relationships people are not happy, and is because we marry somebody that we think we have to, and our clock's running out or whatever, and rather than somebody that just brings you peace. But trying to find the peace in wherever you're at. You can have hopes and dreams in life, but your expectations should be very, very real when you look at the entirety of the world. We live in the financially toughest state. It's very tough to just paycheck to paycheck and all that. And yet my situation right now, even when I was working short hours before I got laid off and stuff, that if I probably take all of humanity, the entire time that humanity's been here, I'm probably in the top 1% of the wealthiest.
Right.
It doesn't help all the time to say like, oh, somebody else has always got it worse, but try and just,
put it in perspective.
Program your expectations to not be so high, but program yourself for your focus to be here and work hard.
100%.
But really investing my time and energy into relationships that want to give that time and energy back has been big for me. But it's I am somebody that for a lot of time, very hard on myself, didn't like myself, always not good enough, and just there was no peace. I was not somebody that anybody. You guys remember me walking around the floor of Verona? Did I look like I was ever at peace? Hell no. I just like, and there's always going to be shit. There's just always going to be shit. Like the money, the house, the mortgage. But what did Christ say to the rich man? If you want to be truly happy, sell your belongings and the people that He chose to walk with Him and learn His message, to be closest to Him.
Wow.
None of their lives got wealthier or easier, and they didn't. They became hated. They became, poor, and it's like that's what we think this is all about is not what it's about, and you don't learn that until you've tried enough stuff here on earth to make you happy, and it doesn't do it.
No, I agree, and I just want to say thank you guys for sharing. It's not always easy. I don't mean to put you guys on the spot with vulnerability,
I'm glad Nick got asked first.
It's not, it's not always but my response is somewhere on the same lines. Like you guys kind of hit it. where I think we should be as men, and where you kind of filter your life and your decisions. But just for me, a lot of what I've found is a lot of people live with regret, right? They look every day, they look back and they kind of regret on what they did yesterday. I should have done that better. And then it kind of causes an anxiety for the future. Like, oh, I hope I don't mess up again. And so people are constantly bouncing from this past regret and future anxiety. And what I have found is if you can get it, the faster you can to forgive yourself, the faster you can to forgive yourself and have a day of gratitude. It's like, you know what? I made mistakes, but it's okay. God still loves me.
Yep.
And I'm going to continue to move forward and forgive myself, because now I can live in that moment. Now I'm protected from the anxiety of the past and the stress in the future if I can forgive myself right now and just get to work, you know? And so,
yep.
Like I said, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Nick, for being here every Tuesday. Thank you to our millions of ranters around the world. Jacob,
by the way, that one bad call at the end of the game, that was a catch. Buffalo wins that game. They kick a field goal. So this whole conversation about the Josh Allen and the Bills shouldn't even be happening, because that was the worst playoff call I've ever seen.
Go ahead.
I will say, it was a catch, and no one can convince me otherwise.
Yep.
So I'll move on.
Yep.
Folks, if you are thinking clearer and you're laughing louder, then we did our job here at the Sports Rancher. All right.
Thinking clear.
So, anyways, with that said, I want to say thank you, guys. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Peace out, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Take it easy, man.
Later. All right, buddy.
Great show, man.
All right. See you next week, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.